at the university under a kind of institutional umbrella that frequently sifts off a great the possibilities. And one of the things that comes to mind is the
interrupt and tell me what.
Was it 32% that the university rakes off the top if you go out and manage to come up with something, and there doesn't seem to be any real movement afoot within the university to sort of accommodate an individual effort. And I'm wondering if it would be worthwhile to sort of develop a little bit more of a not maybe here this morning, but on down the line, a little bit more of a discussion of how an individual within the structure of the university makes use of that situation, but still operates strictly as an individual and not as part of the great pool of extramural grants that are brought into the university.
Excuse me a moment. I have to go for another meeting, so I'll see you people later.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, that's a sort of something to talk about down the line. The problem is that I've been doing all the talking on this end, and Gloria slipped me a note here, and what? No, I think you could pick that up. And maybe we'll just shift gears here a little bit into another area.
I was just interested about the programs that were funded for computers in art or museums.
Repeat again, I wasn't listening to you.
I was just interested in what the National Endowment has been thinking about in terms of computers, computer usage in different areas.
In what way?
For design purposes, for design or graphics or video.
I think that the computer is recognized and accepted as a device which can be used in all of these areas, and I think that they are receiving grant requests and under the fellowship system and for efforts of this kind, also under the video program. Am I correct on that, John? One of the things that did occur to me as we were talking was the interesting possibility in, at this particular point, in an effort to do an open exhibition. There's always a very major kind of a problem of, if you are going to do an open juried exhibition, how do you handle this material? Do you have the material shipped to you? And I can imagine a kind of an interesting system under which a certain kind of pre-screening could occur with this kind of a system that would give access to nationally to material. At the present time, these are often done by slides, so that it's and obviously it's not as satisfactory as the real work, but it might be a way of doing a national pre-screening, and which would eliminate the shipment of works which were definitely not possible, and then perhaps the actual objects of a smaller number of actual objects could be reviewed for, I mean, I can imagine this as a use for this kind of a...
Certainly the telephone company has realized that in this system where you don't have to load the body on American Airlines and ship it to New York for the meeting, you know. So you could just as easily handle some of the hard material in the same way.
Well, it seems to me that you could have a much more, really a fairer jurying almost than you could by slides alone. The minute you reduce a three-dimensional object to two dimensions, you have problems regardless. But I think that it might be that you could have jury people who would actually be describing the object or in some way giving it a kind of a life that it wouldn't have by the submission of the slide itself. Interesting to think about.
Well, I can see great value in that.
Yeah, for sure. That you might not get otherwise.
I don't know, the thought that comes to me is in the projects that are reviewed by architecture, which are almost entirely three-dimensional, even if it's a book, usually the books that are written are of dimensional things, and so, no, I think the medium, there's no question about it. I think it's a matter of just starting and doing it, and I think that's what we're going to have to do.
Just pointed out over my shoulder here that that this morning's event was videotaped. So if Eudorah didn't get to see it, we can always run the tape for her. And this is another kind of ubiquitous condition that exists with Betamax, much to maybe to the chagrin of MCA and Walt Disney. But people are lifting the image out at their convenience and looking at it. So besides having a kind of regional possibility for jurying and also to be able to develop a little bit more of a kind of specific view of the object rather than just slide, the interesting thing too would be that you could have a time delay on it by taping that jurying effort and being able to review it, you know, in another context, or by individuals who weren't able to make it that day.
And of course, with you don't have the, I mean, you could have a person there who, as you suggest, could actually move the object so that you really could view it from different angles and have quite another point of view about it. I'm also intrigued. One of the things that concerns me in much of the activity at the endowment is that I have a tremendous feeling of the need for decentralization and the need for getting information from the regions so that you have access to the richness of the regions, which I don't think that we fully do. And it interests me to know if there would be the possibility of for instance, in cases of the Art in Public Places programs, of actually having regional repositories or else having regional reporters of local artists, so that we really make much more of an effort to get into all of the areas of the country to find out what the resources are.
Well, when John mentioned the Irvine experiment with the satellite, you know, from the church and so on, we immediately translated that to the Arts Endowment and its way to communicate to, let's say, arts councils throughout the country, which exist in communities large and small, and with the local cable facilities that are already in place in practically every town in the country. I mean, I think that it's the initiative, it sounds like, is in our corner. I mean, the technology is there. It's a matter of just moving ahead. I wanted to encourage Gloria to apply to the architecture program for money, because I think that computer graphics would not be overlooked in that program also.
I'd like to say something. I'm Bob Ellis from University of New Mexico.
Bob?
Just line up with the check.
Dora, we don't get your picture very well.
Go ahead now.
I'd like to just say something. I'm Bob Ellis from the University of New Mexico, and we do have a computer graphics program going there. Charles Maddox has worked with our computer engineering program, and we're plugged in just like any other department with the use of the computer, and are having courses in the art department with the use of the computer. The other thing I'd like to say, I'm a little concerned the hookups are still the big cities, and it's kind of the rich get richer syndrome, and I'm wondering how University of New Mexico could plug into this, or some of the other regional schools that are not within the more obvious larger cities, because I'm here particularly to talk to a few people about grant possibilities, and this would be is obviously a very ideal situation.
Well, Emily, couldn't you respond to that? Because the satellite would solve that problem, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but we haven't got the satellite, the kind of technology that we are talking about is where we have a switchboard in the sky, and that means that all the technology is up in the satellite, and then we have a dish that would be sitting in your living room, or would be sitting in your classroom, and we would be able to transmit very inexpensively. It wouldn't cost what it's costing you to do this kind of thing now. It would cost maybe $100 to own one of those, like a Betamax. So, you know, a Betamax started out at $1,000. Well, it's going down. Well, eventually, this kind of thing would go down too. But that hopefully is what we will get passed through Congress and then get the administration to definitely take a position on. But you all can write to your congressman, you can write to the president and say, hey, let's get on with it. we want to communicate. And it might do some good because there's certainly a lethargy here. And if you all are hot for this type of thing, we need a pressure group out there, and we need somebody to vocalize.
Well, this multi-beam satellite that you're talking about,
Right.
is the bill of someone in the House of Representatives now?
It was introduced into the House of Representatives last session, will be reintroduced again this session, will be voted on. Now, not only do we have one, but in the Senate, under Adlai Stevenson III or second, whatever, and Harrison Schmidt, by the way, from New Mexico, who is really hot for, satellites in the sky. Now, they are a little broader in their space concept because they would like to go on up to Mars and start colonizing and doing all that sort of thing. What our bill in the House specifically talks about is a public interest, non-profit satellite that would take care of what we want to do. I mean, artists want to do, what education wants to do, health wants to take care of, libraries, things that are in the public interest. And that's what we hope to get done. And we're already forming a co-op of nonprofit groups that will come together, and hopefully we'll be able to go in as a bulk group and buy time on, like AT&T or one of the common carriers, at a half rate. Well, they're supposed to cut it half, if that's possible to do. And then what money you save from that, you would then take and put into other data processing types of things. So we are in the process of trying to get an interest group and a cooperative group going. But a lot of loud voices from your end would sure help.
Well, I think we've got another group in this sort of relay this morning, and it would be good to sort of pass it on at this point with the satellite in hand to this next group. I think we've reached sort of our point of departure, and I would think that the Irvine people would have something to say about the use of multi-beam satellites and sort of collateral facilities having to do with computers and two-way video and that sort of thing. So if it meets with your approval, we'll do the chair switching at this point.
Before you go away, this is Pete Goldschmidt from the University of California, and I just wanted to be sure that you understood that in making grant applications, when they bear the blue and gold seal, that unfortunately the overhead pays in part for that, and that there's no way that, at least in the foreseeable future, that unless there's a separate fund created that will support it, that this is the only way the university has to keep the shop open in the sense of supporting the kind of things you want supported.
In my naive view, I knew that something like this was lurking there in the background, but the thing that concerned me was, and in the afternoon that we talked with Eudorah, was that the feeling that I got was that the endowment would be a little happier in seeing a little bit more of the money being used in the project rather than to administrate that project. And one of the things, as you know, Pete, that's is one of our great concerns in this Proposition 13 era, is the kind of level of administration that the university seems to have built itself into. You know, the number of vice chancellors that we have, the number of administrative assistants, and I'm sure that even 32%, fairly takes care of them. So
I just wanted to make that comment so that it didn't just sit out there. And at the same time, the standard answer, as you know, is that what we need to do is help the endowment to grow and assure that there is sufficient funding so that the number of awards that ought to be made can be made. And I think if you look at the record over the last several years, that that's generally what's happening, and that that suggests at least that we're doing the right kinds of things in pushing.
okay.
Thank you, John. I guess we should shift over to our next agenda. Any last-minute closing comments there?
Who is the man in back of Nick Chaparro, someone wants to know? He still has his tie on.
Stick around and find out.
I'm Frank Snyder. I'm from the National Research Council.
Well, it's nice meeting you, Frank. And, nice meeting the rest of you. We'll turn it over to the Irvine people now.
A number of people have gradually been gathering here, so as we all change seats here, if people on both sides, by the way, who are the primary speakers, still want to stick around to hear the balance of the time we have, you're welcome to stay. Let's take 1 minute to change seats.
Is this something you want filled out, or is that?
I guess that's
Or those?
here, so.
They want it? They want it filled out? Don't need.
Oh, no.
Bill took it once. Right, yes, we'll arrange your microphone. I guess this one should.
How about you and your lunch? What are you doing?
I'm just going to stand around here.
You take this, because I'm leaving.
We got some work to do. I don't understand. Well, I called. Clark Wilson said specifically, will you send us red list?
Mike's not working, are they?
Hello, Peter. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning. Good to see you. Dr. Ritter.
I see Craig made it back to the West Coast, all right.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Craig.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm glad you made it back. I understand since we last chatted, you've been to Boston.
You under such a fun.
John Evans.
Why don't we go around and, John?
No, I'm Chief Operating Officer of Arlington Telecommunications and Cable System.
John, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience at the same time?
All right.
Who you are. And,
I'm John Evans. I'm Vice President Chief. Oops, I've got one here.
We need one, John.
I need one. I'm John Evans, Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Arlington Telecommunications. We are the cable television company in Arlington. We are building a 360-mile broad-based telecommunications interactive system. And the interaction, the bidirectional capability of this system will be used to first to control all the traffic lights in Arlington County, which is pretty significant in that there are over 300 intersections in Arlington, and you want to get into Washington from Northern Virginia, why, with the exception of one bridge that's in Alexandria, you've got to pass through Arlington. In addition, we are tying together 6 schools for two-way interactive television, and then all the schools in Arlington County will eventually be wired for one-way downstream cable.
Your left, John.
I'm Rosie Mrozinski from the Board on Telecommunications, Computer Applications, National Research Council. Our job is to carry out studies for the federal government, different agencies, primarily on large systems of communications and computing. At the moment, we're working with the Social Security Administration to make them more efficient in paying people when they're retired, and also with the Internal Revenue System to collect money more easily from people when they're working. So we're working this thing on both ends.
Okay. I'm John Golden from Arlington, Virginia, and just really an interested bystander in the development of the school's educational technology. You're too modest.
I don't believe that.
So, you've got to elaborate a little bit more, John.
Telecommunications Advisory Committee to the Arlington School Board for the last X number of years. I'm Pete Goldschmidt, a resident of Arlington for purposes of this discussion, and chairman of the advisory subcommittee on telecommunications to the Arlington School Board.
Yeah, I'm Kataoka.
Everybody here, Mitz, thinks you look a lot younger from that end. We don't know what Washington did to you.
See? Don't you see me just bouncing around here trying to get all these various people together and in line? But so far, things are working out fine.
It's our cold weather that's doing it. It's nice and cold and windy back here, and just by happenstance, he's going to have to lose a little weight.
We should all be so lucky.
Yeah. And Mitz, who's the gentleman to your left?
I'm Frank Snyder. I am also on the staff of the Board on Telecommunications Computer Applications of the National Research Council. And of interest here, I was recently the study director for a study on metropolitan telecommunications that or telecommunications for metropolitan areas that the council did, and had great emphasis on the delivery of public services to the home. Broke it down into the kinds of public services that need delivering, and investigated a variety of methods for improving that delivery directly to the people in their homes through cable and other means.
I think we'll just continue the process of introductions from this end. Start from my far right.
Hi, I'm Helen Cameron. I'm a parent and school site council chairperson, and also I am on the advisory committee for the Irvine Integrated Information System.
I'm Lee Sicoli, and I'm a board member of Irvine Unified School District, and I have been involved with this since the very beginning. Mitz has done a fantastic job in helping us to really make interactive video come alive. A little later on, I'll have more to say about that.
I'm Stan Corey, Superintendent of Schools in Irvine. Very excited about what we're doing this morning and about what it may foretell.
I'm Craig Ritter, and I'm with the Irvine School District, helping to put together some of these various...
Humbling, Craig.
Craig's the director of our project.
I'm off the screen. No.
Speak up.
I'm Melodee Williams, and I work with Craig in the school district to further develop the interactive video and the computer capabilities we're talking about. And my background is that of a classroom teacher, as Craig was one of the first group to use this system in Irvine. And I've seen it grown and hope to see it grow some more. By the way, we have this list, and we'll put it up on the screen when we're finished so that you'll have all of our names if you can activate that copy machine in just a minute. Alex?
I'm Alex Jacobson. I'm a consultant to the Irvine School District, and I'm also a consultant to Control Data. And I've been working primarily between Control Data and the Irvine School District in connection with a computer capability that we're trying to introduce onto the Irvine Integrated Information System.
Joanne Turner, also a consultant to the school district to this project, and executive director of a local tax-exempt group called Consumer Advisors of California. We recently prepared a joint proposal with the school district. Some consumer education programming in the local community. We're based in Irvine.
We'll take just a minute and ask Victor to put our list up on your screen so that you can make some copies.
You see me pushing the button?
I sure do. have some people in the background. Their names are on the list, and we'll hope you get to meet them during the course of our conversation, too. They're kind of busy right now, taking this all in. Okay.
I'll push the button once more.
One more?
One more. Didn't come out right.
Okay.
Time. Let me see it. Here it is.
Very good.
Ta-da.
It works.
There it is. Actually legible. I can read it.
Do they want the same thing from us?
Yes.
You mean a list of, well, I guess we could have quickly written one up on this side. Well, let's not waste time on all this and get on with the agenda.
Brought along with us some pictures of the Irvine two-way system, so in case any of you are interested in seeing what it looks like physically, as during the course of our discussion there may be some interest in that. And
That's a picture of you, Alex.
I can see myself.
Your mic.
So,
Don't stand a second.
Stan's mic works better than mine. However, I'm not going to let him speak right now.
Hey, Craig, you have to speak up louder because I can't hear you. All right.
Anyway, we do have some pictures that we can send your way in the event that they will be of help in explaining what Irvine is and how the system works.
You play with that. You
The
cause
purpose
the
of
camera to come over here.
this meeting is really to begin a discussion between members of both groups on each side of the country to look at some of the things that might develop over a period of time with the possibility of using satellites to connect our two communities. We have with us a number of people representing different areas of the community.